Hey folks, fWhip here, and welcome to my hardcore Minecraft world, where I have now survived 8,095 days without dying. Today is also episode 80, which means it's time for a brand new world tour and download. But before we get to that, I want to continue expanding my world with the mountain turns plains biome here in front of the city. My goal today is to expand the harbor even further with new buildings, work on bringing more foliage to our brand new biome, and a few other smaller tasks to polish off this world for a new download. That will be available to all tier 1 members on YouTube, Twitch, or Patreon. Support wherever you wish, and then join my Discord to get access to the download after you link your account. Also, the world tour will be linked in the description down below. Otherwise, if it's not yet, it'll be available on my second channel, fWhip 2. Now, I've got new builds to add in before that, so oh, right in the floor. I thought I could fit through there. Nope, didn't. Not able to. All right, anyways, new builds added. Let's go safely. Maybe I should walk. I'm just gonna walk for a second. Starting off with a safe activity here, I have some coarse dirt, mud, and muddy mangrove roots, and I'd like to come behind our little dock region here, tear up a lot of this grass so that we can come down and put in a lot of this to decorate it with a lot more of our lush foliage. Okay, this is looking pretty good down here, going from the mud to a little of the muddy roots, and then a little bit of our coarse dirt with the occasional rooted dirt thrown in. And then up here, I want to bring a bit of a raised platform to where we can create some little like covered fishing markets, like fish markets, or a place where they can kind of be cleaning the catch of the day and all that type of just, I don't know, fishing things. So we'll do 2 covered stalls right here that we'll come out and build later. I just kind of want to get them blocked out, mostly so that I can know what space I need to actually be decorating down here with all of our foliage. And then over on this side, I was thinking we just do an open air one and we don't actually cover it. Mostly because I think we have bam, bam, and bam, all 3 just structures there. It'll completely block the view if you're walking along the street here, but also just a little bit more variety, you know? But speaking of variety, I have a lot of different green things that I need to grab in order to decorate. We're gonna go this entire stretch there, and then I want to extend it all the way down through here and do a little pot of trees right in here, just 2 or 3 of them, and then we'll probably bring it around to this rock. My goal for this massive landscape now is to tackle small parts and fully finish them so I can keep checking boxes off and slowly move towards completing all of it. And today, I think this little green stretch to start is a great way to go. This is a lot of the same style I've done so far in the greenery along our waterway to keep it within the same general vibe. But I want to also add in a few patches of sugarcane today along the edges here, not throughout the entire space, but just a few blobs to relate back to our Minecraft river biomes a little bit more. Now on top of that, since this is very much a fishing area here, I thought with the Minecraft barrels representing fishermen when we go to villager job professions, it could be kind of fun to add a few that maybe just like fell down here and we're just stuck down in, like, this is their workspace up here and maybe they toppled off the edge and they're like, I'm just not gonna bother picking those up. I got the idea to do this really lush foliage along our river here when I was playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla a few months ago, and I am so happy about how this is turning out so far. There's definitely a lot more stuff that we can keep adding in to make it come even more to life, like finishing underwater, but that's a future foot problem. Anyways, I loved in that game how they would have these trees kind of overarching the waterways and just kind of this big old lush edge to it when you're getting off of the water. It's like so much life is here because of the life-giving water and everything. So with that, I want to bring in a small bunch of 3 trees right here above the waterway, doing just that to set the scene. I know this is a really simple detail, but I'm kind of in love with our little Minecraft boat just sitting here underneath the trees, so that's gonna stay there for now. I really like how this section turned out. To make the canopy up here a little bit darker too, I added our spruce leaves back here, and I need to bring in a little bit more grass, but for now, this is looking pretty good. We got a small patch of flowers, and we can turn back to the fisherman stations right here. But I am gonna need a lot more blocks to build those up, so back to the gathering we go. Not only are we going to be building up the fishing dock areas, but I want to also add in our boats to the harbor here. So I'm picking up some extra materials from the lumber mill to throw together some small fishing boats. I do want to make a quick stop down into the quarry here for stone storage, as there's a few items here that I'd like to include. And thankfully, most of it's not tough, so I should actually have the materials ready to go. One more very, very quick stop, hopefully. I need to head down into the nether, as I need to get a bunch of glow lichen as a little bit of a shopping trip. No, glow lichen does not naturally grow here in the nether. But my glow lichen farm has run out of bone meal, and hopefully we've got a few bone blocks in here as my storage box is emptying down a little bit. Done with the nether, hopefully for the rest of this episode, we can head into the city, where I really got to make the interior of this building, but my glow lichen farm's here. And I could have sworn some of these had emptied out of bone meal, but I guess they're all pretty full. Oh well, extra bones. Flip that lever on and we make all the glow lichen we could ever need. Okay, maybe that's a little too much glow lichen, but it'll just go into storage for now. This box is empty of glow lichen, so we're gonna put that in there, and then we'll take that, and then it's not too overflowing. Yep. To get started, so we don't have too many things being able to fall down here like our barrels, I'm thinking we take a few of our acacia trapdoors, line those around right like here. And then, unfortunately, to finish the railing, I do have to use this block space to fill that in. But then we could do a little table right there. And as if this is a fish cleaning area, a little redstone on top. Maybe, I guess. I do want to copy that same railing idea right down here. Then we have the exposed one out here that will also have a little table at it with that. And I'm thinking a lever for like a fishing knife. Maybe no redstone. I like the line. But we could include somewhere where they can hang some fish. And we could actually make that real in Minecrafty terms by filling it in with our campfires and extinguishing them. Trying to add a little bit of symmetry to these, but also a touch of our asymmetry. So I've done the tables in the same positions, but I think outside of that, I'm gonna do our little storage racks and everything else that we have just slightly offset so they don't feel too samey, but like these all belong together. Still need to throw the roofs on top, but I feel like for underneath, these are pretty good. A little bit more spawn proofing done with some lanterns as well as glow lichen around, and this should be relatively safe, I think. But while working on the roofs, I had an idea. This area needs a donkey way station, which I'm thinking can fit perfectly well right across from our tree at the crossroads, signifying the exit of town. Okay, we may need to do a little bit more spawn proofing as there are a lot of creeper friends hanging out around here, but the way station is in and it is in need of some donkeys as well as a little bit of water in there. We can grab ourselves 2 leads and head off to the donkey ranch. It has been a while since I've done any donkey breeding, so we still have some really quick ones in here, mostly our 14.207, so I don't want to take that one. Where are my 2 slower ones inside here that we can clear some space? There's a 12.5 and a 12.5. Okay, let's take those 2. Neither have saddles though. I thought you all had saddles on you. Oh, geez. Thankfully, the horse racetrack is right next door, so we can grab some from here. Or hopefully, I should still have some. Oh yeah, we got plenty. Apparently this guy wasn't tamed, so I've been, nope, still not tamed. Still not tamed. Ah, there we go. Right, now just to get these 2 to the far side of the city. I do love hearing the sounds of animals as they're walking throughout the world and everything, but man, it has taken almost 10 minutes to get from the donkey ranch all the way over here. I guess that just goes to show how large the world is for one, but man, oh, I gotta get like a sub donkey ranch over on this side if we need any more. I guess I could just repopulate from the donkeys that I am bringing over here, and that would probably be faster. You, my friend, can hook up over there, and you can hook up here, and I'll find you some chests. Still got some in my redstone box, so we're good to go. Here you go, and here you go. There we go. A new donkey way station is ready to run. Down to the water again, where I'd like to start on these boats, where this is going to be pretty interesting as I need to build diagonal boats, as I want it to look a lot more natural here against the diagonal docks that we have. This is going to do for a base shape here with a little rudder on the back, and normally for diagonal builds, I'm able to use walls to stretch them along, but we don't have access to that here. So I'm thinking instead we're going to try working with some of our hanging signs and then slightly curve it even more here as we move up to the front to give that more consistent angular shape. Now underneath, just to make it a little bit better, let's add a few slabs in down there, and then the rudder is in the back with our dark oak trapdoor reaching up to the middle, where we need to throw a little sail on here, and I'm thinking mud brick walls can come up to here and top it with a flower pot. And for the mast itself, we can throw in some of our stone and andesite, which I know kind of disappears against the stones we have over there, but my plan is like we have the big boat down there, we'll have some big boats here too, so it should help it out eventually. So this one was a single block longer, and I'm realizing I didn't put a rudder on the back of it, but I'll do that later. I think they both work out pretty well. From up close, they're a little wonky, but as soon as you get back here, they're definitely giving boat, and that's important. Now, one thing that's a little bit of a bummer is I can't quite fit one of these boats in right here without it being very, very crammed in. So I've got another idea. I think we can make a cool little raft right here that's just kind of floating a little bit like it's like an older one, maybe, that is going to be literally just that long. A good old 6 blocks. And then we can take our spruce trap doors on the sides here and use those to build this up a little bit more. Almost like it's just a canoe or something. And then here, just for some extra details, so it's not only spruce, we'll throw some buttons on. Yeah, I think that fills the spot pretty well. Still has a boat in it, so that's the important part, right? On to the other very important boats. I built 3 more, one using jungle wood, another mangrove boat, and finally one out of dark oak to add to the variety. Now, no one really lives here yet, seeing as there's no houses, but a wandering trader definitely did stop by, and he's got really nothing for me. However, all of the boats are looking so cool down here. I put these as the docks start to straighten out over here. I decided to just do them the normal straight angles without any diagonals built into them, and I think it helps contrast against the diagonal ones we have over there and helps the whole place feel a little bit more natural. But I'm really happy with how all these tiny designs turned out. If you have any other ideas on how to make a small diagonal boat, give it a shot and let me know how it turns out. I'm really curious to see what y'all can come up with. We still have a lot more work to do in this section, but the vibe of what I want to create here is really starting to come through, and that's looking so good. I really got to get that bay figured out with all the mud and everything, but I don't want to do that right now. I have other landscaping to do. Let's start this by grabbing ourselves a few shulker boxes of dirt here. Then we can pick up radish from our town square, and we're headed off to the dog brewery, as I want to help polish off the world map a little bit more, and I have left this region pretty much untouched since I started it, meaning there's a lot of floating terrain with a few hours of work that can be brought down to the ground level. Like this hill right here needs to connect in to fully finish off this section and make the route the river follows appear more natural. The very awkward part, however, is on the far side of the river, where it currently just opens up to darkness underneath, and I want to throw in a few more guidelines of dirt to help shape this out even more. Then we can use a lot of our current supplies of dirt to fill in the remaining gaps, as this is taking a lot of materials. Thankfully, not going to be a huge issue, as I have so much dirt left from the mountain dig that we've completed recently. So I filled up a few more boxes here ready to go, and we can continue filling in all of the dirt down here. I think I want a few rock faces on this though, so let's bring a shulker of stone over here just to make it more accessible. I definitely overestimated how much dirt I was going to need, but at least I definitely had enough here. After bringing the rolling hills towards the bridge, I want to cap this off with a cliff face to help the bridge still make sense in this space, so I added in some big rocks to bring it all up. And that wraps up this section here, which I think is really looking good for a bit of like a rolling hills of sorts, and I think it's looking really nice down here as well. And it could be maybe ready for like a vineyard or like an orchard or something in the future. Speaking of an orchard, I want to build a few custom trees before we close off this section for now, so I grabbed a few extra jungle leaves and logs. Then jumping back to the river, I'm adding more of those trees I built next to the dock by the water here too, because they just look too good not to. I mean, just check this out. It's so good. Ooh, hi buddy, you got anything fun for me? Tropical fish? Okay, yeah, no, it's not that great, right? I want to design a few more of these of different scales, and then we still need to decorate a little bit more along the edge here. I really like the vibe it's creating for the region, just to have a little bit more lushness right next to our waterway. Probably do a few more like right up there or something, so it's not everywhere, and then maybe 1 or 2 to block the weirdness of the waterfall coming down. But for now, that's looking really good. Next up, it's time to plant a field. I almost hit that tree. I could build a field up in that new region, but I need to wrap up something from last episode by building a field of ferns next to our brand new fern farm. Yes, projects here continue from episode to episode sometimes. So if you want to see how all these things come together, you should subscribe. That way, if you enjoy a build I'm working on, you can see updates on it on future videos without missing anything. I really appreciate your support, so thank you for considering. This here is definitely a field of ferns, not anything else. I mean, I don't know what Minecrafters would use giant ferns to represent in this game. Nope, no ideas at all, but maybe click that like button and we're moving on. Okay, but it does look pretty good though. Does look pretty good. Yeah, hey, our sniffer grew too. That's nice. Moving on to the city itself again, I want to expand our harbor district with some new buildings. First, however, I need to clear out some shulkers from up here out of everything that we have so I can actually make space to pick up new blocks. I'm trying to pick up everything that has stone in it, and then I'm gonna take it down and sort it in that room. And these are all an absolute mess. Okay, there's a ton in there. This is gonna take a minute, but I'll get them all done. This is one of those times where I'm like, oh, this section doesn't take too long. I'm actually almost through it. I've got one trip to make down to the foliage market, and then we've got to head back up to the lumber mill all the way back there, and that's everything sorted. It's got to unload all this junk here into the market. After the massive project that we've just completed, I'm definitely in one of those phases of the Minecraft world where I just have a surplus of blocks, like so many blocks, kind of 900,000 stone from that mountain. But also in that same regard, a lot of those blocks that I'm storing right now aren't ones that I'm actively using on projects that I'm working on, so it's kind of just junk that's filling up all of my different storage rooms. I'm sure I'll find a use for all this stuff eventually, but it is kind of funny just how much is just sitting in here. I mean, look at this. But even more importantly, if we head back into the house, look at all these empty shulker boxes. Oh, we have so much stuff we can pick up again. Goal before the world download, do not recreate the shulker monster outside my house. We'll see if that holds true. Grabbing some of those empty shulker boxes, I jumped down into the mines to grab up a bunch of tough blocks because I'm finding it really tough to build without the blocks. So of course I need a ton of it. Then to go with that, I jumped farther into the mines to clear out some deep slate and get ready for that to go on top of our builds. We're now in my inventory. I have a lot of different stone materials and some foliage materials here ready to go, but I still need some more wooden ones. So I'm gonna grab another 2 shulker boxes and we've got to go load up on that. And first step, as usual, I need some more spruce logs. So I jumped out to the mega taiga and chopped some trees down. We're back in the lumber mill. I'm on to the next phase of crafting and refining all of our wooden elements to create a ton of different stuff and filling up a majority of the space in these shulker boxes with different logs, stairs, slabs, hanging signs, honestly everything you can really think of for just pops of color in the build. Just a few items left to grab here, and I'm hoping somewhere in here, yes, I actually have some iron. We just need a few iron bars, handful of wither skulls to use for decoration, and a quick trip down into the villager trading cave. Been a while since I've been down here, as I need to restock on some campfires. Quick trip across the pond into here where we can buy a ton of bricks that I want to turn into a ton of flower pots. And that right there should do it for the final little blocks. Oh, it's such a small build we're doing today. Look at me only needing 7 shulker boxes. I think that's pretty good compared to what we've been doing. Yeah, I'm scaling it all down. Okay, let's get building. Okay, I forgot my emotional support shulker boxes I take with me everywhere, so it's actually 14 shulker boxes, but it's fine. Those are at every build, so they don't really count. The harbor region is one of my favorite spaces to build in currently, as it's a bunch of small buildings just crammed here into the streets to fill in as much population in this small area as possible, and also making a little oldier and kind of grungier, so I can have a lot of fun here with texturing. This, symbolized by the giant black stone forge out front, is going to be some sort of a smithy once we get around to it. And yeah, wither skeleton skulls did go up there to help give a little bit of a jump on that. But we've got some good space inside and a small work yard out back. Next door also has an alleyway that's leading back into here where I've added in a bit of a small fountain and like a little seating area. This is going to be a very dark space after we build in front of it that will have to be reached through this little tunnel. Even in the middle of the day right now in the Minecraft world, if we walk back in here, the buildings aren't even fully stacked up. You can see just how dark it is getting with this little tiny glimpse of the sun coming through and all the spruce leaves around. It's so very cool. But I wanted to come over here and bring in some dark oak fences going up as if it's like a rain gutter kind of directing the liquid down here, the water runoff and all that. But speaking of upstairs, down here we're going to have an apothecary, which I've symbolized by all of the warped wood just for a fun pop of color. And then from that, I would like to start working my way up to the top so that we can have an apartment building, and we can use our staircase here as a way to be able to reach that without having to go inside the first floor. And I do always try to add a little railing just to make sure it's a little bit safer for the Minecraft player. As much as this will kill Minecraft villagers, right now they don't exist here. That looks pretty good, and we have our little seedy apothecary entrance right here in the alley. And right here above the seedy alley, we have a super nice, bright, and definitely shiny clean building on top, where next door I have added in this sandstone and bone house that also kind of fits the general vibe for this set of the two of them. And I really like how this is all coming together with our 3 new buildings. Checking out the alleyway now, it is definitely a lot more atmospheric as you walk back in here. And the best part is with this little brown mushroom right over here, you can see that we're in light level 1 and everywhere else is above that or at least equal. So this entire place is spawn proof, which I just think is kind of neat. And I really love that just tiny little speck of the blue sky you can see only if you're kind of all the way back here in the corner. It's so cool. To finish off this side of the street today, I want to tuck a smaller house in as if it was just filling the space where it can next to the one that we just built. It's a shame that this looks so good from here as the front view, as we'll probably never see it again from this angle when I add in the rest of the buildings here, as they're going to detail the other side of the street and kind of block that. This angle does look pretty good too, and I really love this tiny build back here. Oh, not spawn proof back there though. As I want to eventually bring a building, probably going to bring it out a little bit more into the street and then over. And then I think like a little back street coming along here to reconnect into the road over there. So you can have buildings in front and maybe something we can squeeze right back in here. Or maybe the road will come back along. Still figuring that side out. I have no ideas over there. Next up though, let's grab some of our tough, polished tough stairs, the chiseled tough, and maybe a little regular tough just for some texturing. As I want to focus in here next, where we're going to take some of our chiseled tough and just run this around as a little bit of a base trim all the way out to maybe here. No. We'll keep that all on the inside. Bottom the supporting beams off with that, and then we can go into the chiseled tough bricks on top. I've done this a few times already, but I really love the look of it, and it creates a lot more walkable space around. So we're just going to create some archways here so that we can bring this back inside a touch. I raised the back wall here, and then we can cover it to have a building going up above with some of our spruce right throughout here. We are definitely going to need a little bit of light, so we can hide that back in here, and then maybe a display table there, which we can throw a cake on, as I want this to be a bakery. Now, I do have the big acacia hanging signs out here for a little fun way to bring people in, but I thought as another fun thing we could do, I used to love doing this. I haven't done it for a while, but alternating the hanging signs, and then I need to jump down here and we can place the last one in as just a fun pop of color of like, hey, the door's right back here. Don't miss it. Make sure you come on in. And then I want to grab the rest of the tuff that we have available right now. And as much as we have the alleyway back there, we need a way to get through to the street over here too to get to the front. So I want to do another one of them. Full on tuff coming through, where there's also tuff on the ground, but I feel like with the deep slate mixed in, it's okay with me. And then to keep this a little bit safer, we can do a lantern there. And I'm thinking another one, just a block hanging down here. I did also come around and build this out on the front side for our water facing edge, as I wanted to make it consistent on both ends, and I think I like it. I've also got our covering in there. Now we just need to work on the building to go on top of it, where I'd like to play off of the orange we have in the acacia hanging signs over there and go with some stripped acacia. And then I did find a lot of orange red sandstone, and then we've got our orange terracotta. Minus the shulker boxes and everything else in the road, this is starting to look really cool. We have 2 buildings left to go, and I'd like to work back along the street, so I figured we could add in a brick building here as well. I just haven't really done that yet, so I thought it could look kind of nice. Throw a little window in right here maybe. And then just for a little bit more variation, when we move towards the top, maybe we move back into a little bit of the mud itself to kind of transition into our next layer. Now, as we're up at this next layer here, I'd like to bring it out a block, and we'll start with adding in a few of these guys. And then I want to bring in our oak logs. Actually, I don't know if it matters, but we'll have these going up and down with the wood, and then we'll connect that together with some logs going across. Now I want to do like a bit of a Tudor framing coming up here where we're going to work into a little bit of mangrove for a darker color, and then we're going to be doing this every other block. Next up, I want to start working in some sandstone texturing that's going to be coming right along in here. We'll start with a little bit of sand at the bottom for that just kind of messier texture, and then above these little windows that we're adding in, we'll do some trapdoors to move up where we can maybe go sandstone, and then for a little bit darker color we can go with the birch. Work that same here into the middle, which will bring it up to a point for the building. Now to finish off some front details here, we can do our slabs. We can throw little flower pots on top, which I'm thinking azure bluets can go in, and then from there we can just do some campfires and extinguish them to create a little bit of a thing like this, bringing this around to the rest of the structure, and it'll fill in the space pretty well. With a brown roof thrown on top using our mud brick, some spruce, jungle, and oak up there, I think it looks really cool. And I decided to change up from the windows on the street side to our harbor side over here, having in a bit of a lift where I really like the design of this one. And then I also brought a little overhang down here, so maybe there's like a small storefront or something for whatever's gonna go inside here. But we got a decent amount of space to work with, which I think is pretty cool. Now, where I don't have a decent amount of space to work with is this corner plot right here. I would like this to be an old fisherman's guild, something that's been here for a really long time. So I want the structure to look much older than anything else, somewhere where all the fishermen come to meet and determine prices they're setting for everything as it's all going throughout, so we can get rid of the stone. But I think it's going to be an older stone-like structure. I've grabbed a ton of our mossy blocks, a little cobblestone, and then we're going to work in a slight bit of tuff here for a bit more shading going on for all of this. But I think we can create, there's mossy cobble. We can bring ourselves up, and it's going to be a smaller structure, probably even shorter than that guy. My current idea involves going with some brown stained glass windows every other to really just kind of make it look darker and moodier on the inside. And then for some shutters, I'm thinking we can just line those on the inside of all of the sides with our ladders. As once we start to surround these a little bit more here in the center, I'm sticking with a lot of our lighter colored blocks. And then as we move into the roof line, I do like to typically bring in a little bit of a darker shade. And then we're also going to do like a symbol carved in here with the tuff, which will probably peak our building up to being that tall. And it looks pretty good, but I think it's a bit flat. So I've got some walls here and then some spruce and trapdoors and slabs. And I'm thinking right here around the windows, just to add a little bit more. Maybe we do a little bit like just on this front side here, bring in some of the walls like this, I guess. And then we can take a few slabs and send that along here just to break up that flat face. Maybe even like a small statue or something carved in there as something that they maybe like pay tribute to before they go out on their boats for the day, and we can lighten up this corner just a touch. With the front finished up, I add in a little green space right back in there, just kind of tucked away with some darker spruce leaves. And the other walls wrapping around the back are filled in, where I also brought out an awning here that I thought we could take our scaffolding, some chiseled bookshelves, and bamboo trapdoors and build up a little market stall of sorts that kind of looks like it could be selling a few different things. Then we can use some trapdoors to kind of bring that all together, and that looks pretty good. Similar to the vibes that we have down there, just something that can be quickly cleared off the street if they need to bring something official through. And then for the roof up here, I want to go rather simple. We're just going to be throwing in a bunch of our spruce, and I think I'm just going to do a full block right there, and we'll work this up kind of wonky as it goes. And that right there is going to do it. Pretty simple, and I added some hanging roots onto the next building there just to grime that wall up a little bit. I really like how this building's turning out. I think it's pretty fun for that old Fisherman's Guild Hall. The only problem that I really have with it that makes it not look so old, but maybe it fell down and they just built up something next to it to support the rest of the structure, but that it doesn't finish over to here, so it's a little limited on space. This stone though, I am leaving in for now until we decorate it and get rid of the grass below, as that can all grow out here onto the dirt and would turn this into grass, and I don't want that. But if you missed it, we got barrels and a little wagons, some extra just fun stuff here in the front. There we go, Fisherman's Guild Hall. And there we have it. The rest of the new buildings in our harbor are finished up for the exteriors, and I'm really happy with how these have all turned out, extending the busy street vibes even more. Just take a moment and walk with me here along the street to get a bit of a better sense of the atmosphere that I've been trying to create through this region of our world. especially as we're walking from our busy street here, moving up into the gates, actually entering into the main part of the city of New Papyrus. I'm so happy with how grand that feels as soon as you turn that corner from busy houses looming over the top of you to this right here. And then we have that, which I think that needs to be changed into something, or at least like something in front of it, because that is very ugly. The rest of the building's great. That though, not great. Let me know if you have any ideas, but I am so happy with how this new expansion has come together for everything today. It makes me so happy to have all these things built out here and placed in. Now that I have spent 3 full years inside this world and 8,100 plus days in game, I love to look back on the different stages of this world. So I create maps to remember the history every 10 episodes to take a picture of the world in its current stage. With our latest map being here, episode 70, where you can see that the harbor hasn't even been started yet, and the mountain over here still has snow on top of it. And we are currently right down here inside of this mountain. Being episode 80, it's time for another map update. I am super excited to see what has changed on this one in the path region, but first I need to dig out a new section for the hull, where thankfully I know exactly what I need to do to continue this pattern down into the new section. And more importantly, my shulker mess here, well, it had everything that I need, so I just threw together the next stretch ready to go. We're in here, we have space for episode 80 to go up on the wall right there, and episode 90 will be going up here eventually when we make it there. I definitely need to get caught up on the floor foggy glass thing. That's supposed to look like that, but currently it's just stone. But I really want to update that map right now. And a definite mess, not mess at all, really organized. Here's the current version of the map, where I need to get a bunch more maps and a bunch of item frames to be able to duplicate it and put it up on the wall. And yes, I'm hiding my shulker mess in my house currently, so it doesn't show on the map. It's fine. It's not a problem. Why would you think that's a problem? I'm not avoiding organizing new things. I don't know why you would even talk about that. We have very important things to be doing right now. Like buying item frames from our villager here, where I wish I had a lot more, like a lot more. Maybe we'll get 3 trades out of him today. That'd be almost enough. No luck on that front, but let's jump here into the lumber mill, grab ourselves 2 stacks of oak logs. Let's go 4 stacks and just make a ton of them to make a quick trip down into the nether. As I recently remembered that I built a piglet bartering farm that I completely forgot exists in this world. And here, thankfully, we get a lot of leather out of it. Realizing now I never put a crafting table here, so that's on me. But we can take all of that leather and create a ton of item frames with all of the wood that we have by crafting down into sticks. And this is going to keep me running for quite a while. Let's start by throwing all of the new item frames here up on the wall just to get these things locked in. Perfect. 54 item frames means 54 maps. And there's 54 maps. This is one of my least favorite times in this entire world, as it's by far the most dangerous time in the world. That's the easiest way to do this. Well, honestly, only one of the most really just not annoying ways to do this is to get rid of my totem and then duplicate all these. So we can take all of the new maps that I just purchased and dupe all of these guys up here. Place all of them back in the chest so that they stay in their proper orders. Not gonna lie, while flying around the area, the maps just kept updating with things that I had completely forgotten that I've been working on in the last 10 episodes. So this was really fun for me to be able to see what I've actually accomplished over the last while. This definitely takes a bit of time to do each time I make a new map setup, but I'll be honest, I just really love being able to look at the end result here. Right here in front of us, here we have it. Oh my gosh, the castle. I completely forgot I did this. Well, I know I did it, but like recently, I thought I'd done that way long ago. And then we have the new landscape poking right out over here. The moss unfortunately does really show up on the map, so that's a bit of a bummer. The new harbor region's in there. We got our new boat showing on there, which is really cool. All of these new city buildings coming in. We're slowly just making the map more and more gray. You know, that's just all of the gray tones are really just coming in throughout here with the roofs and everything. Yeah, it's just perfect. Slowly we get rid of the green and it just all turns gray, and that's how we know we built stuff everywhere. But just for a quick update, here again is episode 70 where we had the last map update, and here we have episode 80 with our brand new map update that I think is looking really cool. It's making the city feel so much more grand as it's poking out from underneath the giga tree. just by so much more now. I do actually have one more map that I want to update as well over in the deserts of New Papyrus. So a quick trip through the nether out to the west, and we can do that. Where it's time to repeat the same steps as before, just flying above the desert itself, where realistically, it's only a smaller update that we really had to do for this map here, as I only spent one episode here working on it, but I wanted to be sure to double check every single map and make sure they're all updated. I've really got to find a new spot to put these maps, but for now, the three of them are sitting down here, with our brand new update being the city block and the sugarcane farm underneath that we have, as well as a little field right over there that I forgot I had added in, but that must have been while I was working on that one. Oh, and I think the sugarcane, nope, that was already there. Never mind. It made me really excited to see this region again and be back out here, as I haven't really been here since I finished working on this space. And I've kind of decided that I want to wait for the pale wood to be introduced, as I think the white is going to work out really, really well for the build style we're currently using out here, as I try and incorporate a little bit of the quartz and everything. But I think that pale oak plank texture is going to be so cool that we can use to really expand this place a ton. So we'll definitely be back out here soon. And the sugarcane farm, the little time I have been out here, has been working pretty well. Now on day 8,152, we have so many cool things in this world. Thank you so very much for the support on this series so far. Remember, there will be a world tour on my second channel, fWhip 2, if you'd like to see everything I've done, as well as a world download will be available for all tier 1 or higher supporters, including YouTube members, Twitch subs, and Patreon supporters. But with that, I'll catch y'all on the fWhip side.